So John, you mentioned that we're being regulated for total PM10. So we're being regulated for salt and water. So up and down the state owns numerous parks and beaches. How many other beaches are we closing to regulate salt and water?
I think I just want to add to that, Jim, if you don't mind. I mean, there are other landowners that are next to ocean as well. So I think we need, I would like to see some level of immediate response to carve that out, right? How do we get to that point so we can say all of these things are beyond anything that we could ever reasonably mitigate? And it's not just us, it has ramifications for property owners up and down the entire state of California, not just the OHV park.
No, those are good questions, and Jim addressing that. We've specifically talked to CARB about that, and and Sarah, you can correct me, there are no instances where they've differentiate the different components of particulate matter. My understanding is anywhere. And so they basically is total PM in all situations. And so I understand what you're coming from, but that's what we were told by CARB. Okay, one other question.
The Scripps report, unrefuted now, 14%. The model assumes 100% mineral dust. So that's an easy mathematical model to switch, 100 to 14. And then what are the changes? That can be done today. So what are those changes?
I wouldn't be able to speak specifically to the model. Those are good points. We have talked to Desert Research Institute about that before, and it's not an easy thing that can be done. But we can talk to them again to see what would be needed to make that happen. Yeah. All right, one more. Yeah.
It's been proven that the salt and the water content is not necessarily landing on the sand and then being blown. It's coming straight from the ocean spray. So therefore, if it's coming straight from the ocean spray, we're not emitting it. So how can we be responsible for PM particles that never touch the sand or are impacted by the camping and recreation out there? It's direct transmittal from sea spray, from the ocean waves to downwind monitors.
Yeah, we've specifically talked to CARB about this, and they don't break it out. So I hear your frustration, but we're being regulated for all the PM, and you know, but this has started the discussion. The APCD has done an additional study on that, and so it's part of the discussion.
John, do you know, are there any other circumstances where an adjacent, you know, a property owner adjacent to the ocean has been tasked with reducing PM10 from the ocean? I mean, it's like, it could, I mean, if only 14% is mineral dust, then we have 76%. Some of that is water and salt that, to Jim's point, we clearly cannot be responsible for. Even if CARB doesn't think that they've ever done this in the past, this might be the one time we need to, because how many other circumstances, who else is getting regulated?
That would be something we would have to ask CARB, and perhaps we can have CARB do a presentation in the future. We've specifically talked to them about the components, and they've been very clear that they're not broken out in their regulations.
Could you find out, would you mind finding out if there are any other examples of
I think
landowners, park owners, you know,
I think in Monterey,
petroleum companies that are having to not only deal with their own impacts, but as well Mother Nature?
So can you repeat? So it's other instances in the state,
right. Who else
where
is
a
getting
landowner
regulated?
is being regulated for
ocean spray and salt.
Yeah, we can ask that.
Thank you. I'm very
I
curious.
don't think they have anything to relate. I know that we spoke of maybe 2 decades ago, there was something similar in Monterey, but I haven't accessed any information on that.
Well, it'd be great if you guys could just double check, and then I think that that in its own right is an angle for us to approach this with some of the decision makers, and I believe CARB does have a boss, right? Someone is over CARB, so we might have to go over CARB if this is an extremely unique situation. I don't think we can be responsible for Mother Nature.